move here. And again, this is something that usually happens, and I'll share my screen here. But one of the things that I do in the stock trading game is always look for January effect plays. And basically what happens in January is anyone who was going to sell an asset to take a tax loss or offset gains does that in December, right? So once you get to January, it takes a lot of the selling pressure away from assets, and that includes stocks and cryptocurrencies. And so I think going into January, I was kind of expecting this little bounce here. Again, I say little because Bitcoin, again, 16,000 to 18,800, not the biggest move in history of Bitcoin. But to me right now, it still hasn't proved itself, right? So it's a great move. You can see this downsloping trend line right here. We finally broke above it. That kind of kick-started the rally in early January. We're now kind of kissing this little underbelly of this chop here. For me, the biggest thing that I'm paying attention to is this fall, right? So you had this big fall, which was the FTX collapse. That would be the only way for me to really start to get semi-bullish on Bitcoin is if we were to eclipse that high.
To pull back the same way we came, you're saying to just go right past it where we came down from.
And that's a very psychological thing, right? So you've had so many people damaged by FTX. The whole crypto space, you could argue, got damaged by FTX. And so if price were to trade above that, psychologically, that would be a big relief to investors, you know, and I think that would draw in a lot of new money. So right now, I look at this as a bear market rally. It's still inside of that move. Just to do one thing here that's kind of cool, we'll do a parallel trend line. And if we stretch this line here and then stretch it up, look at that. See this high right here, and then look at where we just kissed right there. And so this is stuck inside of what we would consider a bear flag, or in spirit of bear flag. So yeah, at least at this point, I'm in the position of thinking that it's a great move, but I would recommend for myself selling into this up move. So, I mean, CPI basically came in alignment with expectations. And so the market was really weird. Initially, it dumped out, and then it reversed on the S&P. And then we've kind of been just chopping around slightly positive the entire day. And I think the takeaway is, yes, inflation came down. It was in line with expectations. But the reason why we're not seeing either a big up day or the big down day is because I don't think it changes anything. You know, the Fed is still going to hike rates the next time they meet, probably 25 basis points. And there's still kind of a lot of question marks for the stock market right now about earnings, right? And so we know the economy is starting to slow a little bit. A lot of, you know, analysts are saying that earnings revisions have to come down. They have to come down, which then is negative for the stock market as valuations apparently are still too high. And so, you know, it's an interesting situation where the S&P is up today. Crypto's up today. We've seen a 4-day run up on the stock market. Basically, that coincides with the run up on crypto. So you are seeing this continued kind of connection with risk assets going up together. And really, to be honest, that's my biggest fear for crypto. You know, I think that the FTX scenario is kind of hopefully the worst is over now type scenario where we don't see anything as big as FTX coming forth. But now it's more of, okay, well, if the stock market declines, do people panic and sell their crypto anyways? And that what drives it down. So that's kind of what I'm looking at this point. I mean, the stock market to me is hanging on by a thread. Just to show my chart real quick on the S&P 500. Sure. Take a look here. So look at what we've done. So you had this drop, which was right off this trend line. And then look today, we filled a gap and we went right to that line. And this is, again, a bigger downtrend trend line. On the S&P 500. So I'm in the position where I'm actually short the S&P 500. I'm not short crypto. I want to be clear on that. You know, anytime something falls 70% from its highs, you're not going to catch me shorting at the lows anymore. Just like you shouldn't have been buying Bitcoin at 60, 65,000 at the highs. But it's more of staying away and maybe taking profits on some of these moves in crypto. Because you're worried about the stock market having another big rollover to it. So that's my expectation. I think the S&P is going to be down 25% in 2023. I think crypto will drop probably towards 9,000 before it's all said and done. But then by end of year, probably recover towards 20 again. So I think there's going to be this changeover where you go from a risk asset being crypto to where it becomes a store of safety in the second half of the year once we get that transparency, hopefully from regulation. Bearish in the first half, bullish in the second half. So I think right now we're getting a beautiful January effect rally, which is where tax loss selling's over. The charts were beaten down. There's a kind of a resurgence of bullishness here. It's an awesome move up. I'm participating in it with some Bitcoin action, although we are getting into resistance here on Bitcoin's chart. So this is the next big test. You can see how price broke out above this downsloping trend line. Look at that beautiful float to the upside. But now this is your next test at around 18,400. So again, I don't know if it'll break through. Overall, I still think there's probably more downside to go on Bitcoin before we finally bottom. But again, second half of the year, I'm very bullish.
Okay.
Bearish on the first half because I still think equities, meaning stocks, are still the preferred investment method, meaning that people still think the Fed may not push us into recession. Even if they push us into recession, people are still under the guise that they can rescue us by printing money and lowering rates. I think by the second half, we start to recognize that we're going into a recession in the US at least, and probably globally, and the Fed can't print money because inflation will remain above 2% for the foreseeable future. So what that's going to do is it's going to force people to say, okay, well, if stocks are not making the money because consumers are not buying their products due to a recession, where is my ultimate option? And that's going to be Bitcoin. And I think, again, once we get regulatory kind of clarity here, that's going to become a big investment option for institutions.
Would you start scaling into stocks now, or do you think that scaling into the US market is as risky?
No, I think stocks are super risky right now. In fact, I'm more going short the market here on this pop here this morning. And you can see we have this down sloping trend line here. I have it projected out that we'll be down at one point this year, 25% on the S&P. But I think the nice thing about that is at the Bitcoin and crypto won't see that type of downside once it gets to its lows. I think it'll start to outperform equity prices. ETH-BTC here, and again, it's been a nice little move up, but you have to note this level right here and then this level right here. So you're going to get into resistance about 0.078 or so. That's where we're just underneath now. And then if you can get through that, you can get a little bit higher. But, to me, again, this is something that's showing me that, yes, it's been a nice run, but again, in a bear market, just be careful. Bear markets are notorious for luring us into being bullish and then kind of taking it all away from us. So again, I just go by the resistance levels here. I'll put an arrow on the chart. So this is a classic move up. This is bullish consolidation. The ultimate result is going to be this. It should be this, I should say. Probabilities would dictate that.
I said it yesterday. Sheldon said it yesterday. Gareth, before I let you go, one more thing I want you to look at. Gold. I think gold just touched 1900. While we were live, I think gold just actually touched the 1900 mark, right?
Yep. Amazing move on gold, guys. To me, this is the safety play of 2023 again. And again, it's had an amazing run to the upside. You are going to hit some resistance around 1915, so it might be an option to kind of look for a pullback to buy the pullback. But gold has been a rock star. Look at this pattern. Does this look familiar? We almost just looked at this on the ETH-BTC chart. Same up move, sideways consolidation. The expectation for this is that this is probably going to break out as well.
That is for sure a little bullish continuation pattern. Gareth, listen, I'm not going to hold you here because there's lots to talk about on our side, and I know you need to open the market. So thank you very much, my friend. Much love from me and the Banter fam, and welcome back, buddy.
Much love to you as well and the whole family there. Thank you so much.